Welcome back. 1 year since the Inflation Reduction Act was passed, over 170,000 new clean energy jobs have been created across the U.S. Joining us now to discuss more is the Executive Director at Climate Power, Lodes. Lori, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much, Brittany. Great to be here.
So, to start off, can you tell us a little bit more about the Inflation Reduction Act and its significance as the largest U.S. investment in climate and clean energy in history?
It really is one of the most significant laws our country has ever passed, and that is just 1 year into it. In the last year, we have seen over 170,000 jobs being created. A real manufacturing boom has been unleashed across the country. And these are good paying jobs that you can retire on and rely on. These are jobs that are going to help strengthen the middle class and really grow the economy from the middle out. And so we're excited to really start talking more about what's in the Inflation Reduction Act and how it's going to benefit people's lives, from lowering people's cost to lowering the pollution that affects so many communities.
Absolutely. And like you just mentioned, lowering the cost and lowering the pollution. So, can you elaborate a little bit on the impact that this act is going to have on local communities around the country?
Yeah, and let's talk about New York, because what we're seeing in New York is, incredible. The investments that are coming into the state and across, not just in New York City,
Mhm.
but really across the state. It's becoming a hub for offshore wind and battery manufacturing. Over $100 billion have already been invested into the state, and that's creating about 13,000 jobs. And what we have seen is when there's these local investments made, we are seeing revitalized communities that may not have that had manufacturing leave, really become, have stronger schools and better roads, and really growing in a way that many didn't think was possible just a short time ago.
That's amazing. And over the past year, we've seen a substantial increase in clean energy jobs across the nation. So, can you tell us more about how this growth has been driven and the impact it's having on the job market?
Absolutely. So what we've seen is that companies are making these investments in clean energy, whether that's ramping up the production of solar and wind, or getting into newer industries such as EVs, and newer to the United States is battery manufacturing and battery storage. And so what this means is that there are jobs that are being created all across the country for construction workers, pipe fitters, electricians, engineers, scientists. And most of these jobs don't even require a 4 year degree. So there's really jobs available for anyone and everyone. And there's job training available and workforce development to make sure that people do have the skills they need for these new types of jobs.
That's amazing. And so, with that, can you talk a little bit about what sectors of the economy will be the most impacted moving forward?
I mean, the really interesting thing is just how this is going to impact everything. What we are seeing is the ramp up in production of clean energy, so solar and wind. And really in New York, it's semiconductor chip manufacturing that will be used in EVs and other clean energy products. And so it really is, we're on the starting point, and there's really so much that we're just going to be seeing over the coming years of just how much industries are going to be impacted by this growing clean energy economy.
Absolutely. And lower energy costs and lower emissions are significant benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act. So, can you elaborate on how families experiencing these benefits and what it means for their daily lives?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we are all learning every day is just how extreme weather is getting worse and it's getting more prevalent. And so we need to take action now so that we can lower pollution, which is going to mean that we can stave off the worst impacts of the climate crisis. I know as a mom of a 5 year old, it is something I think about a lot, as he's not able to go outside for recess because it's so hot. this week. But there's also cost savings available. There are tax rebates to help lower your home energy cost or to buy an EV, even a used EV. That means that there are more ways to make your energy bills or your switch to cleaner energy more affordable and more accessible.
Thank you so much for bringing up that point about it being so hot. I know in July we were seeing like record temperatures ever, the highest ever for that specific day. So I think it is so important to think about. And although there's, controversy around it, some people are like, it's not, nothing that we need to look at, but I do think it is something that is so important. And so with that, like we mentioned, climate change is a pressing global issue. So what do you see as the most significant challenges and opportunities in the ongoing fight against climate change, especially within the United States?
I mean, I think you really touched on it in your answer. It's, I think people think it's too big and that we can't actually take it on, or politics get in the way of doing what is right? There is no debate over the policy. Climate change is here, and we need to be preparing our country to be more resilient, to be more sustainable. And, that comes with challenges of making sure that people understand and our elected leaders understand just how important it is to act and to be bold. And so I think what you're going to see, over the next year, especially, is this becoming a bigger conversation about how the economy can work and should work by really growing from the bottom up and the middle out, as well as the alternative to that, which is obviously, basic climate denial of not wanting to do a thing about it. So I think in the next year, we're going to see a lot as we head into the 2024 election about how there really are two different viewpoints of what we should be doing.
Absolutely. And in your role as the executive director of Climate Power, what strategies and initiatives are you undertaking to help raise awareness of positive impacts of clean energy and climate-related jobs?
Everything and anything. We are talking to people like you, Brittany, and people all across the country. We are talking directly to people. We have advertising that's going up very soon that really tells the story of what is possible and the huge opportunity we have because President Biden has invested in this clean energy plan that really is going to make us have a stronger future and grow the middle class. And so we're really focused on talking to as many people as possible wherever they are to make sure that they get the information that, look, the Inflation Reduction Act is the biggest climate investment that's ever been made. And the only way we continue to build on that is by talking to our friends about what's made possible and raising awareness of what's actually happened so that we can grow and do even more.
Lori, thank you so much. I feel like I learned so much in such a short amount of time. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Brittany.
For more information, you can visit their website at climatepower.us and follow them on social media at Climate Power. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.